Today's story is called Chuan Tzu and his wife. And I may not be pronouncing the word correctly, but that's a Chinese man's name. Once upon a time, a long time ago, there was a Chinese man, and his name was Chuan Tzu. So, here's the man. Here's the man, and his name was Chuan Tzu. Chuan Tzu. One day he was walking, and he was walking around the cemetery. Okay, the cemetery is where there are lots of tombstones and dead people are buried. Okay, cemetery. Now, he was walking, okay, and he saw, well, I guess there was a little bit of a mound here, so, and, the dead person is under the ground, and there is a tombstone. Now, when Chuan Tzu came here, the woman was sitting here, and she was fanning the grave. Fan is the thing that you have when you are very warm. The temperature is very high, and then you feel very hot, and so you fan because you want to create wind. Yeah, and so she was fanning the grave. This is a grave. Yeah. So he said, "What are you doing? Why are you fanning the dirt?" This is a dirt, yeah, earth, the sand, mud, the dirt. And so he said, "Why are you causing wind to the dirt?" And then she said, "I want the dirt. I want the earth to become dry very quickly," she said. So Chuan Tzu asked her, "Why do you want the earth to become dry so quickly?" And then she said, "This is my husband's grave. My husband just died, and he is buried under the ground. Before he died, he said to me, 'I know that you will get married again to a different man. I know you will fall in love with somebody and you will get married to somebody after I die.'" Okay, that did man. But he said, "Don't do it until the earth is dry. It means do not get married so quickly." He said, "It's okay that you can get married to another man, but don't do it too quickly," he said to her. And so she explained to Chuan Tzu, she said, "Well, the thing is," she said, I have a boyfriend, and I want to marry him. I want to marry him quickly. And so that's the reason why I want the dirt to become dry. I want the earth to become dry very quickly," she said to Chuan Tzu. Chuan Tzu said, "Ha, I will help you," he said. And so he also took a fan and he fanned the grave. As soon as he fanned the grave, right away, the earth was dry, completely dry. The woman was very happy and she thanked him and she left. Now, Chuan Tzu came home, and he said to his wife, he said to his wife, you know what happened today? He explained the incident, what had happened that day. He said, I met a woman and I helped her make the earth dry because she wanted to get married to her new boyfriend. He said he explained the incident. Incident means the event, something that happened that day. He said, John Tzu explained that incident, what he did with, for the woman, young woman. He explained the incident to his wife. Now, his wife did not like that. His wife disagreed or disapproved it. She said, oh, that's not nice. She said, I would never marry another man, even after you die, she said. That's not a nice thing to do, to get married so quickly, she said. And then Chuan Tzu said, don't be so surprised. Don't be so surprised. Things like that is done all the time, he said. That's how things go in this world. People do that all the time. So don't worry. Don't be so critical, he said to his wife. And then his wife said, I would never do a thing like that, she said. I would never do a thing like that. I will never remarry. Remarry. I will never remarry another man after you die or soon after you die. Okay? Well, soon after that, sometime after that, Chuan Tzu died. Chuan Tzu died, and so the woman, she became a widow. Okay, widow is a person who lost her husband. She became a widow. She became a widow, and she cried, and she grieved. She grieved. She grieved. She grieved. She grieved. And she grieved, and she went to the cemetery, and she buried Chuan Tzu. Okay, she buried him, and there was a mound. Okay, and she put lots of Chuan Tzu stuff. You know, he loved books, so she put books in here. He had expensive watch, so she buried an expensive watch with him in a coffin in this box. And then lots of things that he liked to he loved to have around him. So she buried him in a coffin with lots of nice things, and put the tombstone. Okay, tombstone. I think it's called a tomb. Yeah, tombstone. Can you see this? Yeah, tombstone. Maybe I'll move it a little bit. Yeah, tombstone. And so just she grieved because he died. Now, a few days later, after the funeral, two people came to her house. They knocked on the door. She opened the door and she said, yes, who are you? And then these were two people. One was a man. And the other was a young boy, young man, and he said he was Chuan Tzu's old friend, okay? And this was this man's servant, helper, the person who does things for him, okay? Please go and get me some coffee. And then he would go and get some coffee. So he serves this man. Anyway, these two people were Chuan Tzu's old friend and his servant, this man's servant. He came and said to Chuan Tzu's wife, the widow, I came to visit my friend, he said. And then Chuan Tzu's wife, the widow, said, oh, she said, my husband is dead. He died a few days ago. And the man said, oh, no, he said, can I go and visit the grave? And so she took them to the grave and they bowed. Bow. They bow means, okay, they bowed to the grave. And then the old friend said, excuse me, but can I stay in your house? Can I stay in Chuan Tzu's room for a while? I want to think about him in his room. The old friend said. So the widow said, sure, of course, certainly. You can come and stay in Chuan Tzu's room. So the old friend and his servant began to stay in Chuan Tzu's old room. Half a month, okay? A half a month passed, means 2 weeks passed. 2 weeks later, Chuan Tzu's wife, she used to wear black garments, okay? Garment is a dress, clothes, okay? Clothes. She used to wear black clothes because she was mourning. She was, her husband died, so she was mourning. But she took off her black dress and she began to wear beautiful red dress. She began to wear a beautiful red dress, and one day she came to the servant. She came to the servant and she said to him, hey, she said to him, hey, I want to propose. I want to marry your master, she said. I would like to make a proposal. Propose. Okay. I want to propose a marriage. She wants to marry the Chuan Tzu's old friend. So the servant went to the old friend and he said to him, Chuan Tzu's wife, the widow, wants to marry you. And he said, what? He said, Chuan Tzu, my friend, just died 2 weeks ago, and she wants to marry me, he said. So he said to his wife, the Chuan Tzu's wife, come with me. And Chuan Tzu's wife and the old friend they went to the cemetery. And then Chuan Tzu's wife said, Chuan Tzu's old friend, the old friend, yeah, he said, he said to her, look at my face, he said, look at my face. And he took off his glasses. He took off his glasses. And then she said, oh no, she said. He said, look at me. Look at me, he said. I came back alive. I came back alive. And then she said, you did not die? And he said, no. He said, I wanted to, oops, you can't see it. I wanted to test you. The woman was very, very surprised to see Chuan Tzu alive. She was overwhelmed with shame. She was so afraid that because she had said before, I would never get married after you die. But now, after 2 weeks after Chuan Tzu died, she wanted to marry his old friend. And so she was, oh no, she was very, very ashamed. She couldn't say anything. When she saw his face, she was dumbfounded. She couldn't say anything. She was shaken. She was afraid. She was speechless. She was so surprised she couldn't say a word. And then she ran away. She ran away and she went into a forest. She went into the forest. You know the forest? Lots and lots of trees. She went into the forest and she climbed up the tree. She hung the rope and she hanged herself because she was so ashamed of herself. She died. Now, Chuan Tzu, he went to the cemetery and he buried her. Okay, he buried her. Okay, he buried her. But he buried her in an empty tomb. Empty tomb. Empty tomb means he did not put anything in the coffin. Yeah, this box is called coffin. This is coffin, and he did not put anything in here. He did not put any books in here. He did not put any jewelries in there. He did not put any beautiful dress in here. He just buried her in an empty means nothing in there. Okay, empty tomb. The end.